the Honourable Acting Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, my ministerial statement is an update with respect to the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources. Honourable Deputy Speaker, at the outset, I wish to make mention of the work of the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources as being the administrators, developers and managers of all state lands initiatives, as well as facilitators of the country's mineral sector and groundwater resources. In perspective, and to put into perspective, Honourable Deputy Speaker, we look after 18,000 state leases, land leases covering about 4% of the landmass in Fiji, which equates roughly to 730.79 square kilometers. And the benefits derived from that are to 48,000 ordinary Fijians who are direct beneficiaries through our 18,000 odd lessees. Honourable Deputy Speaker, further to this, the Mineral Resources Department of the Ministry, our statutory functioning through the Mining Division regulates the mineral sector and is inclusive of all minerals, whether of high or low value, and also covering minerals that are terrestrial or offshore and not acceptive of extractive activities like quarrying, whilst also managing the effective development of groundwater resources and the provision of clean, safe drinking water. Honourable Deputy Speaker, in our collective attempts to build a better Fiji, where development is carried out without bias, the Ministry continues to conduct its service to realise one of Government's promises, that is, of regularising informal settlements for the issuance of lease titles, thereby giving them security of tenure for informal settlers. And this is carried out through one of the Department's many roles of cadastral surveys in developing state lands. Honourable Deputy Speaker, to date the Ministry has issued 238 approval notices regularising the occupancy of these families in informal settlements, in which 72 was issued for the Western Division, 77 for the Northern Division and 89 for the Central Division. And for the information of this august House, I wish to elaborate further on the procedures followed before any approval notice for informal settlements are issued. And the reason I'm saying this, Honourable Deputy Speaker, is because on the last occasion, I think it was Honourable Dalaki Virata had misinformed the House on the processes undertaken for the issuance of approval notices, and this coming from a gentleman who had served the Lands Ministry for more than 30 years. Honourable Deputy Speaker, approval notices are only issued after the scheme plans for subdivisions are approved by the Department of Town and Country Planning. Informal settlement subdivisions are classed as residential upgrade zones by the Department of Town and Country Planning, and the requirements or conditions of approval are set out by the Department in the scheme plans. It is in this respect that I inform this House, Honourable Deputy Speaker, that the Lands Department not only issues approval notices given the prior approval of the Department of Town and Country Planning. Furthermore, Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Lands Department has also requirements laid down in its policy for all types of leases, which are to be met before vacant lots are allocated to the successful applicants. With the above-mentioned operating procedures, I'm pleased to mention that 13 approval notices for Ngangoro and Waimari settlements in Reki have been registered out of the 26 forecasted for the Western Division in my last statement, and a further 12 approval notices registered for Vitandra settlement in Maduata out of the 61 forecasted up in the north, with the remaining 101 approval notices for all divisions earmarked to be handed out in the next financial year. Honourable Deputy Speaker, this month alone, and this is quite an important aspect, this month alone saw the issuance of 80 renewed agricultural leases in the Western Division in the areas of Ba, Latoka and Nandi, with a breakdown of 43, 22 and 15 respectively. A further 71 renewed agricultural leases are also ready to be issued and was earmarked to be distributed to their holders on the 11th of this month as well, but due to Tropical Cyclone Ella, this did not eventuate, but will be handed out in the forthcoming months. These, Honourable Deputy Speaker, are the first renewed leases to be issued in batches, and it was evident on the face of the recipients that their restlessness and uneasiness with their prospects on the renewed leases was finally put to rest. Honourable Deputy Speaker, contrary to the bleak picture painted by the opposition, especially the National Federation Party, this government is doing something about our farmers and their futures. And once again, I'd like to categorically state that this was a problem that was created by a particular gentleman on the other side. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the leases that are being given to these particular farmers, the term of the leases being given to these particular farmers are for 99 years. Now, taking that into account, Honourable Deputy Speaker, we will continue to pursue the renewal of all expired leases with the knowledge and foresight that it is not without its hindrances. Honourable Deputy Speaker, in my last statement I made mention of the number of leases that had been renewed as 788 to date, and the number has now increased to 874. And though progress is coming along at this stage, slowly, we remain committed to getting all issues resolved in an amicable fashion, and as previously stated, the Ministry is vigorously working towards renewing all expired leases by the end of the next financial year. All of the aforementioned is part and parcel of the work conducted by the Ministry of Lands, and I now wish to update this House on the progress of Fiji's geodetic datum. In our proactive stance, the Ministry has initiated the upgrade of the National Geodetic Framework, and in comparison to international standards, Fiji's datum requires an upgrade, and this timely upgrade is necessary for all the current work that government does when associated with lands in all the relevant ministries. The upgrade of the country's datum relates to our national policy as it underscores government's commitment to nation building through the modernization of surveying infrastructure. Honourable Deputy Speaker, further to that, the strengthening of the geodetic network, the Ministry has been instrumental in matters relating to national interest, in accurately demarcating the boundaries of the different land tenure systems, and the National Geodetic Control Survey would assist the whole nation in planning and development. As an extension of this, provides investor confidence in these new areas once the registered leases or titles are issued. Honourable Deputy Speaker, for the information of the House, there are currently also 2 existing continuous operating reference stations in the country, one at the Geoscience Australia office in Lautoka and the other one situated at the Geoscience Division of the Secretariat of the Pacific Community in Nambua. And on that note, the 8 continuous operating reference stations, which are termed cores, are to be built across Fiji to strengthen our datum capacity in the areas where these new stations will be established are Lakemba, Lambasa, Nambualu, Kandavu, Koro, Rotuma, Taviuni and Onoilau. The technical evaluation of these sites have all been completed with a tender of 5 of these already being advertised, and the remaining 3 sets of cores equipment are being provided for by our development partners. And let me say quite clearly, Honourable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, the government's ambition and intention are to achieve and secure the best possible deals for all the landowners also with respect to land use and the land use division. So we're trying to achieve the best possible deal for the landowners who have voluntarily deposited their land for investment purposes through the Land Use Act. The intent to secure best deals for the landowners' land designations leased has yet again thrived for the year 2017 for about 36 landowning units. The total payout was $1,341,682.15. The tangible benefits directly promoting investment opportunities for investors and the landowning units through the survey of their land prior to leasing is one of the benefits, and an unprecedented opportunity for the landowners to ensure best land management practice is realized. A total area of 1,497.86 hectares of Itoke land was surveyed for 2016 to 2017 April. One of the highest priorities of the department is to ensure the benefits of the Land Use Act. Also, Honourable Deputy Speaker, that this is actually communicated widely and cascaded to all the landowning units in Fiji. In this regard, the Land Use Division of the department, in collaboration with various government institutions, has conducted 107 consultations and landowner awareness throughout Fiji. The division will continue to engage relevant stakeholders to strengthen the institutional arrangements in achieving the objectives of the Land Use Act. And our position is also that we will expect to negotiate with resilience to refute the numerous negative portrayals already made about the department's land use division. Honourable Deputy Speaker, as we venture into sustainably utilizing our nation's resources, in particular our mineral sector and its huge economic potential, I am indeed with the knowledge that the Mineral Resources Department has implemented measures to ensure the protection of the environment and the sustainable development of our mineral resources. For example, river gravel extraction application processes now require the applicant to submit a rock resource assessment, which will have to comply with the quality standards that is required, for example, by the construction industry. And to ensure sustainability, these rock assessments will define the volume of resources resulting in sustainable methods of extraction. This is an aspect of our work that I can confidently say will feature prominently in as the department is currently reviewing the Mining Act and the Mineral Policy. On that notion, Honourable Deputy Speaker, please allow me also to provide clarifications on the bauxite extraction currently being done in Nawailevu in Mbua. This year there's only been one shipment of bauxite to China, and that was in March. And the nature, Honourable Deputy Speaker, of the mining business is well known to be one bordering on volatile market prices. And taking into account the fluctuating prices of bauxite on its market, mining activity will continue and will be exported as and when suitable. The Ministry is also closely monitoring these works so that the benefits and the impacts are felt and experienced by all for the duration as well as after the completion of mining works. Honourable Deputy Speaker, just a quick update on the Vatakola mine safety audit that is currently being undertaken by the Mineral Resources Department. As of now, Honourable Deputy Speaker, those work areas that have been found to be safe as per standards have been opened for re-entry, and those that need to be improved to comply with standards, and these are continually being addressed by the company with the continuous monitoring by the Mineral Resources Department. This shutdown, Honourable Deputy Speaker, has been favourably received by the workers and also the communities concerned, which reflects how much the Ministry values the safety of workers that are involved in such high-risk operations, and something which I know the Employment and Industrial Relations Minister, Honourable Usamate, will attest through his portfolio. Honourable Deputy Speaker, also just a quick update on the groundwater reticulation. Work has been completed around the country. For those in the north, we've had 5 which are on progress and about to be completed, and 4 in the Western Division. Honourable Deputy Speaker, last but not least, I'd like to highlight to this august House a very serious issue about the extraction of gravel resources from our rivers. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I'd like to emphasize that the Lands Department is the only department responsible for the issuance of river gravel extraction licenses. And for the benefit of this House and the general public, there is a ministerial task force on the ground weekdays and weekends who are out monitoring river gravel extraction activities. And this shows our commitment to ensure the sustainable development of river gravel, as we are currently seeing a boom in the construction industry and infrastructure development. So those that are caught, Honourable Deputy Speaker, extracting river gravel illegally and extracting beyond their legal license areas will face the full brunt of the law, as this is tantamount to theft of state resources. In conclusion, Honourable Deputy Speaker, this is but a speck of the work that the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources conducts on a daily basis, and I reiterate that we will not compromise our standard of service to deliver to the ordinary Fijian extraordinary and exceptional public service to ensure a secure and better future for our generations to come. I thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I now call on the Leader of Opposition or Designate.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I thank the Honourable Minister for his ministerial statement, and I would like to respond to some of the issues raised. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the issuance of approval notices, I thank the Minister for his explanation, but unfortunately, not all approval notices are issued on subdivisions that were pending the approval of being approved by the town planning department. in some cases, leases are being issued ad hoc basis, and they are also issued approval notices. Approval notices, Honorable Deputy Speaker, are issued because the land had not been surveyed. Because once the land is surveyed, then they will be issued a registered lease. So pending that, an approval notice is given to whoever is occupying the land. On the development of state land, this side of the House, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we appreciate development of state land, but good development. Development should be properly planned, and so that the highest and best use of the land is captured, so that it will get the highest return to the government. But the issuance of approval notices to squatter settlements, informal settlements, is not a good development, because the tenants will continue to live in those squalid conditions they are living in. And good development should ensure that proper access, sizes of the lot meet the minimum standard, infrastructure are developed like water, electricity, and drainage, and sewage, and those are the issues that should be looked at when carrying out a good development. But this type of issuing approval notices to informal settlements, I think it's a vote-buying exercise by the government. Because the government should ensure that they make a budgetary allocation to do proper land development, so that everybody will have a very good standard of living, and not living in squatter settlements. On the other issue, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the fair share, as mentioned in Section 80 of the Constitution. This is a very critical issue, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I appreciated the response by the Honorable Minister that it had been under review. But it had been under review since 2014. This is 2017. It is necessary to look at this very carefully, because if not, we will be giving away our resources without being properly compensated for. Because the fair share will only be a portion or a fraction of the royalty given to the government. But we should ensure that the total royalty that is payable to the government is indeed a fair compensation to the value of the mineral that has been exploited. On the issue of our GIS system, the Lands Department develops the GIS system, which is land-based. And as you know, Honorable Deputy Speaker, all developments are based on the land. So if the government GIS is very good, accurate, then all other development should be adhered to the development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now call upon the leader of NFP or his designate.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I also take this opportunity to thank the Honourable Minister for his update. I acknowledge his hard-working staff of the Lands Department working on approvals of state land leases. we give credit where it is due. We know that they also work under trying circumstances, and through you, Mr. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we urge them to remain positive. Furthermore, it is our hope that the Minister continues to advocate that the technical skills in his ministry are aptly protected and nurtured under the civil service reforms. While we appreciate that the reform initiative intends to promote exemplary outcomes from the civil service, we would also caution the Minister to ensure that the institutional history is also retained, especially for this key ministry. Whilst we appreciate renewal of agricultural land recess, there are many pending for renewal, and some of them are dairy farmers. And I believe the government should adopt a policy of timeline. When an application is made, there should be a timeline so that people know for sure that within that particular time they will have their recess renewed, provided they provide all the necessary requirements. We have many eager young graduates in GIS remote sensing and GeoIntel, all very key and highly competitive technical competencies for a national state land agency. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are looking forward to the outcomes National GIS Conference this year, and of course the regional forum on GIS that follows. We anticipate the technological innovations to be shared then will undoubtedly have a bearing on where Fiji is headed, particularly where national land use plan is concerned. Another area is informal settlement. We reiterate our earlier call that Fiji should not have informal settlements without basic infrastructure such as water, electricity, and roads. And we urge the government to formalize these settlements as a matter of urgent priority so that our people, the Fijian people, enjoy the basic necessities and facilities in their life so that their quality of life will be enhanced. Honorable Deputy Speaker, of course, the upcoming budget debate will highlight exactly where this ministry's priorities will lie, and I thank the Minister for this update. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.